By 1756, the fires that began in the forests of the Ohio country had spread beyond control. What began as a border skirmish had become a war, not just between colonies and tribes, but between empires. France and Britain were no longer pretending. The war was official. The world was watching. In May, Britain declared war on France. Parliament called it the 7 Years' War. But here, across the Atlantic, it was something different. To the colonists, it was a war. For the frontier, for land, for family, for survival. French forces, joined by native allies, swept down from Canada, striking at forts along the wilderness trails. The British, slow and proud, were still learning the ground beneath their feet. That summer, Fort Oswego fell. French troops under Montcalm surrounded the fort, cutting off escape by land and by water. Within days, the British garrison surrendered. News spread fast, whispers along the frontier, of prisoners taken, of the French flag flying, where the British once stood. The colonies, still reeling from Braddock's defeat the year before, began to wonder if the empire they served could even protect them. In Pennsylvania's backcountry, near the Blue Mountain Ridge, the Miller family waited in silence. They'd cleared their land 2 years before, their cabin built from the same trees that once sheltered wolves. Now, the night itself felt like an enemy. The father slept with his musket beside the door. The mother kept a candle burning low, not for light, but for courage. War was no longer something that happened far away. It lived just beyond the tree line. In 1877, Virginia, George Washington now commanded the colony's frontier defense, a job no one envied. He wrote in his letters of endless marches, empty forts, and men without shoes. He saw what London could not, that the colonies were fighting a different war, a war of distance, of weather, of wilderness. And yet, Washington stayed, not for pay, not for glory, but because someone had to stand between the settlements and the dark woods beyond. Across the ocean, fleets clashed from the Caribbean to the Mediterranean. For Britain and France, the war was global, a contest for trade and empire. But the colonies felt its weight most in the silence that followed each messenger's ride. Another fort fallen, another family gone, another year lost to fear and frost. And yet, amid the fear, something new was forming. Militia officers from different colonies fought side by side. Merchants learned to move supplies without London's permission. And when the war came to their doorsteps, colonists no longer waited for orders from across the sea. They acted together. Without knowing it, the colonies were beginning to learn the shape of their own strength. By winter's end, the frontier was scarred but unbroken. Families huddled closer. Soldiers buried their dead beneath the frost, and in every cabin, every fort, and every fading campfire, a question began to grow. How long could an empire rule a land it barely understood? The year 1756 had shown the colonies the true cost of empire, in lives, in loyalty, and in blood spilled on ground they called their own. The war was far from over, but the seed of something larger, something no king could control, had already begun to grow.